This is the Variety Sports Network, created for the fans, by the fans. Now to your host of tonight's show.
And welcome to another episode of the Fatboy FadeAway Sports Podcast, episode 152. Joining you here on September 17th here in the morning. Brian, if you were up late, I know you weren't. We'll talk about the game here in a minute. But if you were up late, especially somebody on the East Coast, I was watching that Colorado State game till 11:30 p.m. Pacific time, 2:30 Eastern. Congratulations if you're up at this point already going. I'm very impressed. Brian, we missed last week's show. We needed a little breather there. It was the first week of NFL. We were focused on talking the gridiron. We got a lot to go over there with the Niners and Raiders, both victorious. A lot of things also to touch on with the NFL. We have Aaron Rodgers. We'll definitely get into his injury as well and what happened there. And then we'll just kind of hit on some other things around the week. A little bit more college football than I usually get into more often. But, I feel like maybe it's the Dion factor. Maybe it's the podcast game. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the Pac-12 and their final year actually being pretty good. But I do find myself a little bit more interested in college football than I've been in the past.
Yeah, I feel the same way. This is the most I've been in college football in a while.
Do you watch the pregame shows still for that stuff, or not really for college football?
Yeah. Yesterday I was watching. I haven't watched it while I was watching the Fox pregame.
Yeah. Where were they at for that one?
What?
Where were they at for that pregame show? Do you remember?
Colorado.
I feel like Colorado is I think they've been on the pregame show 3 straight weeks now, right?
I feel like Mark Ingram's perfect for that type of thing because he's good at hyping stuff up and stuff.
It's crazy to think how much Colorado is changed now in that regard. You get Dion, right? And then at the game yesterday, you have The Rock, Offset, a few other celebrities there as well. It's just kind of crazy how him being there, plus obviously, winning ball games is just it's just crazy what it's going to do for that Colorado program.
Yeah, and they gave a jersey to Lil Wayne, and he performed during it. They had Gronkowski, so it was crazy.
He ends up with more jerseys than anybody else on there. Yeah, so I was thinking of college football too yesterday because you remember how did you see the score yesterday where it was 91-0? I think Portland State lost or something like that. It was something crazy like that. Yeah, crazy game last night. We're gonna get into that in just a second. Chris, you were the person I was talking about staying up late. If you were one of them on the East Coast, mad respect if you made it all the way to almost 2:30 your time checking out the game. That was crazy. 11:30 my time, and I was still tired, Brian, like you said. Yeah, so with that game, 91-0, Portland State beats North American or something like that. It made me think of my son's soccer game yesterday. He plays 2 years down. It took a 14-0 loss in soccer yesterday. It's a tough one up for the.
I felt bad for the Duck the week before because Oregon beat them 81-0, and he had to do
you have to do 500 push-ups, right, or something.
Yeah, something like that. It was crazy.
That was. All right, let's start right with it. As like we said, we're brought to you here at Variety Sports Network. Appreciate Chris tuning in. Anybody else? Got a few people here. Feel free to leave a comment in the chat. We'll definitely bring it up here during the show here Sunday morning. We got a lot to get into this NFL, little MLB too. I got some questions for you MLB wise, just regarding Shohei and a quick little topic looking at the wild card as well, and the Cy Young actually heating up too there. All right, Colorado beats Colorado State. They come back from 11. With about 10 minutes left to pull out that 43-35 victory in overtime. The whole thing leading up to the game was right. What made this game a big deal was Jim Norvell making the comments about Deion Sanders, and my mother, taught me not to wear sunglasses at a press conference or in my hat. I thought that was right away. When you're the underdog like that, you think that's just not usually the way you want to kind of get the other team kind of thinking about you even more. But to their credit, Colorado State played really well. There was 4 guys, Brian, when I watched this game on Colorado State, I was I want him on the Raiders. I want him on the Raiders. And I want him on they actually showed up. And there was and I felt bad for him. I thought their coach kind of blew the game a little bit for him at the end with some of his decision making. There was also a lot of hype around this game. I'd be curious to get other people's take on this. I know I'm going to be different than most, is the late hits. I know there was some of that. The late hit on Travis Herter, now he's taken to the hospital. He's out. That one was definitely a cheap shot. I don't think he should have been ejected for it. I just don't. But that doesn't mean it wasn't a cheap shot. But me, Johnson, like there's that mentality that I'm okay with in football a little bit. And then there was one at the end on Sanders, like very end overtime, where he gets like drilled and taken into the ground, like old school 90s football. Those are the type of plays where I'm watching that, where I'm like, that's where you got to have respect for like the college football players in like the 80s and 90s, Brian, where they're like taking illegal hits like that and they're not even flags. So yeah. I thought this game had all the elements, from the coaches kind of having the beef, from Colorado being America's team now and taking over, and then Colorado and Sanders being able to put on a show and come back and win. Quite a game.
Yeah, I mean, I thought that was a pretty big cheap shot when he was all the way in the end zone. Then he like pushed the Sanders guy over after he got that pick six. I was kind of like, that drew a flag, but I thought, man, I was surprised he didn't get ejected for that.
Yeah, a lot of people were having issues with Colorado State. I know online and stuff like that when you're falling, they just thought that they were given a lot of they thought their coach maybe unraveled them, like they were playing undisciplined. But it's hard. Like, I mean, they were up by 8 with 2 minutes left. Colorado had to go 98 yards for a touchdown, right? So I don't know. Like for me, I kind of just, the game itself was so unique because nobody's ever usually even watching Colorado State, right? Like never is anybody ever usually staying up late to watch a Colorado State game. So to me, that tells you already the impact that Deion Sanders has had on college football. And it still amazes to me that nobody, I don't know, it just amazes me that Colorado was the team he went to. Maybe he went to it because he knew his son could play that. I'm not sure, because if I was another school, I would have just wanted him really bad as my coach. The man motivates, he recruits. It's like, I'm just surprised like a bigger school didn't offer him a contract. I said that way back when he signed with Colorado. So I don't know what some of the other factors were, maybe that he chose that he hasn't really even expanded on yet. But I mean, he's really changing the college landscape.
He's definitely turned this around really quick.
Well, and with the NIL, don't you think he'll be able to even get even more recruits? I mean, he's got the Rock already he's got the Rock on the sideline week 3.
I know, that was crazy.
He's got the Rock out there. I saw the Rock,
and they're going to have, what's going to be crazy is in a couple weeks the USC is going to go to Colorado and play them, so it's going to be insane when that happens.
Does Snoop Dogg wear a Colorado or a USC jersey in there?
Definitely USC.
I don't know. Snoop could change his mind. I could see a split jersey there. I could.
Sorry. Darren's having technical difficulties. We'll be back as soon as we can. Brian, talk to Darren. His power went out. Sorry about that. Have a great day. Enjoy your Sunday.